Okay, so let's have a look at the round one team. Now, barring any late rookie changes or any injuries and things like that, my side's pretty much set how I'm going to attack round one this season. So I've got Nick Dacos, D1. He's going to be probably the number one defender, if not in the top two, so I'm locking him in at the start. Not worried about the bye so much. I think I'm covered, as we'll talk about that soon. Tommy Stewart, I think he's primed for another big year. Harry Sheasel, same thing. Hayden Young, can't resist him at that price, $525,000 with his new role. I think he's going to be really good value for us, a really good investment at least $125,000 less than Dacos. Gibcus, $150,000 with a return of 76, not bad. That's going to start his cash generation well. I'll probably replace Gibcus in time with maybe Jaden Short. He's just one I've got my eye on, or maybe Lockie Whitfield, one of those two. We've got Howes from Melbourne, 91, with $123,000 rookie. You'll take that any day of the week. Zach Reed, job security is very, very strong. I'm not expecting a huge ceiling from him, but I think potential with the huge job security that he has, he can be a steady, slow burn sort of defence rookie for us. Even if you bench him, he'll still make some money. Caulfield is locked in for the weekends, which is good news to hear. There was reports that Bevo's locked him in. So moving on to the midfield. So we've got Bontempelli, I think $724,000. I wouldn't pay that much for many other players in the comp, but it's Marcus Bontempelli. He's a reliable captain option each week. Definitely locking him in. Petrarca, I think with the good thing for Petrarca is that he can move forward and kick goals during the crunch moments. And also I think Oliver is still a couple of weeks underdone, so we get a bit more time to look at him. And he probably will be one of the first midfield upgrade targets. He'll probably lose a bit of money, hopefully, so we can pick him up a bit cheaper. But he's definitely in line to go in there if all things are looking good. Zach Butters is apparently over his ankle issue. They subbed him out of the game early just to sort of put him on ice. They didn't want to risk it. And I think a lot of super coaches are like, oh, thank God for that. So he's in the side. Tuke Miller, was really impressed with him on the weekend. 116, just was doing what he likes, just floating about. McKercher, I think will do well. Riley Sanders, the Colonel. Roberts. Haven't seen much of Roberts. Haven't been looking too much at him, but there's been a lot of reports that he's one of the rookies to grab, so I've got him. And Wilson from St Kilda as well. He is confirmed to play. So 130,000. Now we've got Dersma, Hustwaite and Clark on the bench. Again, barring any late rookie changes, these three will go in. I think with Dersma, the thing, even though he is a bit higher priced, it fit well into my structure in terms of what I've got. I've made some changes, which we'll talk about in a minute. I think Dersma is going to be, he's still going to make a lot of money. I think his break-even is going to be pretty high. Pretty high negative-wise, so he's going to make some money reasonably quickly for us. We can then use that to upgrade to maybe a Fallen Primo, or maybe use that in another trade to get up to a Goulden, potentially a Merritt, someone like that. So that's who I've got in the midfield. Gawn and Grundy in the rucks. And I've gone Vicentini. He's going to be my floating donut for the year, I would think. Now the midfield. Here's where I've gone a little bit different. So I've locked in Ned. 124. Again, just did what he wanted, basically, on the weekend. I spoke about, I'll claim credit for this one, Isaac Heaney. Not a lot of people were talking about him pre-season, not that I'd seen anyway, so I think I made a video of the top 6 forwards, or at least the top 8 forwards, and I had Isaac Heaney in there. And I was like, why isn't more people talking about him? So I'm locking him in. I think 483,000. It becomes a case, I think, of a question of, is Isaac Heaney going to be a top 6 forward by the end of the year? And on a scale, I would say highly likely, depending on the crop that we've got this year. Unless something drastic changes and we get, a few midfielders become forward eligible, then probably not. But at the moment, where we sit at round 1, I think Heaney with 144, is it chasing last week's points? Maybe. I think the role is good, though, at least until Parker and Mills and that come back. And even though he is a year older, he can still post monster scores. So I've locked Heaney in. I think 483, we've kind of got a keeper for reasonably cheap, which allows us to get a few other things. I guess the only speculative pick I've gone with in the end is Zach Fisher. There was Carl Amon there, and there was like Wardlaw. It was too mid-priced for my liking. I don't know whether that was the right move to do. We shall see. But I think 378,000 again. If he could potentially be a keeper with his role down back at North, he could be a forward keeper. Supercoach, Harley Reid, goes without saying. Windsor, 180,000, 58. A little bit, that wasn't greatest output for that price. But I think, the role's there at Melbourne. So, yeah, especially with Bowie out, you never know. They may throw him down back potentially. You could have little spurts in the back line on the wing. We'll see what happens there, see what Goodwin does. Sexton, I think, is a lock. And the forward bench, I've gone with Cadman. Was pretty happy with how he went on the weekend. And Patrick Voss, which is a little bit of a pod rookie. Will he get picked? Not sure. Again, this could change before tomorrow night. I don't think it will. Talking about a couple of things about where the side was in terms of the structure and what I've changed. I had to get Hayden Young in. I couldn't go without Hayden Young. I think he's going to be really good this season. For that reason, I've avoided Brayshaw and Sarong because I think they're going to steal points off each other. I've tried to balance the buys. Let's talk about the buys. I've balanced the buys as much as I can. I've got Roberts, Grundy, and Heaney in the 1 week. I've got Flanders, Sexton, and Touk. So it's not ideal, but I think it's kind of negated a little bit as well with the best 18. So I don't think it's going to be a big disaster as I previously thought. I've got Dacos as well. So we'll see how we go, but I'm got a pretty good balance there, I think. So I had Carl Amon. I just don't know whether he's going to be a keeper. Same with Wardlaw. I've kind of chickened out from the mid prices a little bit. I've gone with the tried and true, the guns and rookies kind of strategy. I think this year with the amount of rookies we've got on offer, which is very different from previous years, it allows us to pick more rookies, so our cash generation is going to be good. We could be building a bit of a bank quicker, and then we can use that to upgrade rather than our trades in terms of like a sideways trade. Because obviously if you're using the bank that you've got, you're using the money and the player, not just the player and burning trades. And sideways moving, you're kind of downgrading and then upgrading, which is what you want. The one up, one down. The Mr. Miyagi, Daniel-san, paint the fence. Okay, so I've gone with Nick Dacos as vice captain. I think it's quite a safe bet there against Sydney. If he does anything from 120, 125, I'm probably going to take it. I'm going to put the captaincy on Marcus Bontempelli. I think Bont is a good captain option. And what I'm thinking of doing is if Nick Dacos scores a good VC score, I'm going to take that. So I'm going to bring Vicentini onto the field, probably put Grundy as the emergency, Vicentini as captain as my floating donut there. In terms of the rookies, emergency rookies, splitting hairs maybe, but probably Zach Reed up against Hawthorn. Might probably go Huswaite there. You could go Dersma. It's a bit of a roulette wheel at this point of the season, honestly. We just don't have enough data at this point in time. And forward, you'd probably go Cadman. So that's more than likely how I'm going to look to set up. It's about 99% certain that's how I'm going to look for round one, barring anything drastic. All right, thanks very much for watching. Let me know in the comment section what you think of the side, what you're doing, if it's drastically different to mine, what you're doing, what's your strategy for 2024. Interesting season. A lot of buys to navigate early on. We'll see how we do with our sides. Thanks very much. Talk to you soon.